Ready?
Yep.
All right. This takes it just a minute here and we'll get going. We'll call to order the Stevensville Town Council meeting for Thursday, December 10th, 2020. Ms. Bertha, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Councilmember Devlin,
Here.
Councilmember Ludington,
Here.
Councilmember Sherd,
Here.
Councilmember Vick,
Here.
and Mayor Dewey.
Here. Thank you. If you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, I will pull up the flag here for you guys. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you for that. Next item on our agenda is public comments. We do have a couple pieces of correspondence that we will read into the record at the correspondence section of the agenda, but this moment is reserved for public comment from citizens on items that are not on the agenda. I don't see any phone callers calling in on the system tonight. And as of right now, I don't believe we have any public comment coming through our live public comment form. Is that correct, Ms. Berthoud? Okay, thank you. Just for a housekeeping purpose, know that that public comment form is available throughout the meeting, available on our meetings page for this specific meeting. Just click on that button, fill out the form, hit submit, and that information will be automatically sent to the town council and the town clerk and myself for your consideration. We have approval of minutes for the town council tonight. You have 4 sets of minutes there. September 10th, 2020, November 11th, November 20th, and November 30th, 2020 meeting minutes are before you for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve all 4 sets of minutes.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vick and seconded by Ms. Devlin to approve all 4 sets of minutes before you tonight. Any council discussion or questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Most of it has to do with trying to bring me up to speed. First of all, there was some mention in there about Mr. Netzi, the building inspector, and some of it was unclear in audio. Is he no longer on the payroll, or how is that working?
In that specific regard, he is a contractor with the town rather than an employee.
Okay. I noticed that you did an AFR on building code enforcement, and I commend you for being able to work your way through that. That happened to us one other time, and it took an extremely lengthy period of time. It took almost 6 months to get that figured out. So I compliment you, Robert, and Mayor Dewey on getting your way through that. And we are now charging late fees and doing shutoffs on utilities as of the 1st of December. Is that correct?
Correct.
Or 1st of October?
Yeah, back in October was when we reinitiated that at council's direction.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
No problem. Any other remarks on the minutes tonight from council?
Yes, I need to enter a correction onto page 33. What I had actually said, I know on the video it may have sounded like I said I second originally to the appointment of Mr. Shord at first. What I had actually said was no second, and I think it was misheard, and that was it.
Okay, correct the record. You have that noted, Ms. Berthoud? Okay. Any further corrections or additions or notes? Okay, assuming no public comment, Ms. Berthoud?
There is none.
Okay, very good. With that, Ms. Bertha, if you please call the vote.
Councilmember Devlin,
Aye.
Councilmember Luddington,
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd,
Abstain.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Next on your agenda tonight is approval of the biweekly claims. You have before you claims 16292 through 16426.
I'll make a motion to approve claims 16292 through 16426.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vic and seconded by Mr. Luddington to approve the biweekly claims 16292, 16426. Questions from council on the claims?
I just had a quick question on claim 16395 in regards to it looks like the police department's cell phone for 139.95, and maybe it's been brought up before, but that one's a little bit higher.
That specific bill covers 3 or 4 devices, and they're all smart devices with unlimited data plans, so they can do their field work.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions on the claims from council? Okay. With that, assuming no public comment, Ms. Bertha, would you please call the vote? Or, go ahead.
Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Luddington,
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd,
Aye.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Wonderful. Motion passes. Thank you very much. On your agenda for administrative reports, we'll start off with the airport. Mr. Underwood, you want to give us an update? This will be, I think, your last airport report as we bring on a new manager.
Roger. Oh, yeah. We had an airport meeting last night. Went very well, pretty quick. Basically, I can report we do have a new manager coming on board, Tim Schmid. You guys, we voting on him tonight. I met with him again yesterday to set up a schedule and what he's be doing to, keep our airport going and getting it back up to speed. In the last few months, we worked through the airport billing issues, and we finally got the bill sent out for last week, and we've got a good response back with a lot of information that we didn't have from people using the airport. So we're in turn sending out more bills, and the revenue is definitely going up in that respect. As for the project, the runway and apron rehab is basically winding down. The only thing that really needs to be done is the tie downs in the north apron were not put in because the machine broke from the subcontractor that drills those in. And so when that machine gets up, they'll put that in. And they didn't get the painting done on, or the markings done on the taxiway or the aprons this fall. And they'll do that in the spring when the weather gets good, along with seeding and mulching the sides where they along the run, the taxiway where they dug it up. And so they'll do that in the spring. For the most part, that's it. Except for there's been a lot of interest in the airport, people coming our way, but some of them were tire kickers just trying to get the information. But there is a lot of interest, more interest is like anything in Montana right now, people coming in and people with planes. And so I think we're going to see a lot more activity up there. Subject to any questions, that's my report.
Any questions for Mr. Underwood? Great, thank you, sir. The building department report is in your packet. Bear with me. I noticed that your packet is a little jumbled this round, and we'll work to correct that. But the building report provided by Mr. Netzley, the contractor on that department, is provided in your packet. We'll jump back to Mr. Underwood with finance.
Okay, during this last month, we've been working to close out FY 19 and 20 in preparation for doing the FR with Jennifer. And then our auditors are planning to come early next year and have the audit done by 30 March is the deadline. And so we're working hard to get that all wrapped up. We as you heard, we also received the audit on building code fund. We got that back. We'll have to do that again with this next coming audit. And there was a few findings in them. Most of them were pretty basic, but the biggest one, which we get every year on a regular audit, is we have a big reserve in the building fund. And according to the standards, we can have basically one year budget and then the next year, and that's it. And we're a little bit beyond that. And we probably will be that way for the foreseeable future, just from the way we are right now. Right now, we got $207,000 in that fund. Our annual budget is about a little over 68,000, and we were projected to take in 100,000. So we're not drawing down in that fund. And so we'll see that again this year in both of those audits. We're also looking at moving forward with the new credit card program, which we talked about. We had a meeting today with the bankers. This credit card will give the town cash back of 1% on all the bills we pay. And so it's instead of just being a wash, we'll at least get a little revenue out of that. And I think it's going to be a good program to help us manage the spending of the budget through the department heads. And the program's pretty easy. We control it up here. So we give them we can turn off a card, we can turn on a card, we can give them a limit. It's very controlled program. So it's not like someone got the card that they can just go crazy with. It's very a controlled program. And the big thing is trying to get our vendors to take our credit cards using our, through our software. We can just pay our bills by credit card and then work our claims through the credit card and then get 1% back, which should be very good. Also, just this year, just to let you know, our cash reserves are continuing to grow in town of Stevensville. That's just good. So we're going in a positive direction that way. Last thing I have is we have not received the last installment of the CARES payment from the fourth round, which is a little bit over $88,000. We should see that coming in. They have changed some of the basically the state's running out of money, and so on November 30th they sent out a note basically saying that they're not going to fund a lot more stuff this next round. Basically our fire and our police wages are not going to be funded this time, but most everything to do with COVID will still be funded. I think they bit off more than they could chew by saying they're going to fund every police officer, detention worker in the state of Montana with that fund is what was happening in the end. But for the next round, we do have a couple big requests in there, and they've been approved. The door for the fire, the emergency services computers, and the phone system, along with the laptops for the staff in case we get COVID and have to work from home. And then, of course, the other basically COVID, supplies, cleaning, and stuff like that, which is just will be funded too. Subject to that's the report. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Underwood on finance? Great, thanks for that, Robert. Next up is the fire department report. We'll turn it over to Chief Motley.
So I believe you guys have the stats in your packet. I don't have a copy of the stats here in front of me tonight, but things are pretty much on par. I think there are somewhere around a little over 600 and some runs for the year so far, but you guys should have those stats in your packet. Is there any questions on any of the stats that you have in the packet? Okay, so in the fire department, we have stopped all of our in-person meetings. We'll look to resume those sometime in January once we kind of see how and if there's a spike in COVID and those types of related items. So temporarily, we've stopped all in-person meetings. We're still doing some Zoom stuff, setting calendars and things like that. So we're conducting business through Zoom meetings right now. We did get our 3-inch supply line. We took delivery on that, and we do have that in service now. We've got that all swapped over. We talked with Steve Rebke from Snow Mountain Electric today in regards to getting the new LED lights put into the truck bays and the drop-down cords installed. he thought that, well, he told me that we were next on their list. He's got a job up in Sealy that he's got to finish up. But he's going to try and get there this weekend and get started on installing the light fixtures and those things for us. So we'll have the lighting in hopefully ahead of the door. So we have room to work on both trades there, the door people and also the electrician. Other than that, we're doing a few little community service things. Santa is making another couple appearances throughout the community. And other than that, we're just kind of hanging out at home doing what we need to do, helping our neighbors out. We did go down to Florence the other night and help them out with a big structure fire around Thanksgiving time or Thanksgiving Day. But other than that, it's been fairly quiet. A lot of medical calls as is par. We're seeing a few more COVID deals. And again, our policy is we limit our exposure. We don't go in unless we're requested to accompany and our help. The ambulance crew, we let them take the lead on everything that we go to. And we just gown up, mask up, glove up, and try to limit our exposures the best we can and still provide service to the community. So that's what's going on in the fire department. Any questions?
Questions for the chief? Great. Thanks,
All
Jeff.
right. Yep, thanks.
Parks and Recreation, Mr. Sunstein.
Yeah, so down at Lewis and Clark Park, the bathrooms have been winterized and locked up for the season, and we had a porta potty out there for a few weeks, but that has also been cleaned up, put away, and winterized for the season. Still sanitizing for COVID-19, weather permitting. I pretty much can get one round each day, kind of the warm spot of the day. Otherwise, I'm just kind of letting it freeze as I spray it if it's too cold. So I'm doing that as much as I can. River Park Trail, I'm down there quite a bit. There's a lot of dead trees and a lot of branches overhanging the path and stuff. So I'm constantly down there just trying to keep that path safe. I know we have quite a few people that frequent that path every day. Some who aren't as mobile as others. So I really try to take care of that park down there because I know it's well used by a lot of our community members. At Veterans Park, we've been working with the veterans at American Legion and the Garden Club to renovate that park. It was a really big month for that park. Finally, we have 3 new flagpoles standing down there. I don't know if you all have seen them, but it's coming together. We have a nice big concrete slab poured. Lighting is wired through the concrete, but we still need a trench over to the pump house to connect that wiring. Currently, flags are standing, concrete's in. We've made a lot of progress this week. We also have a new flagpole at Father Valley Park. And let's see, am I frozen? Can you guys hear me?
You're cutting in and out a little bit, Bobby. If you want to turn your video off, that's fine. It'll
Yeah.
help.
Is that any better?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, over at Father Valley Park, we also have a new flagpole put in on the south end. We're awaiting our solar light for that, so that will be going up soon. Over Thanksgiving, we had a turkey trot 5K. We had 10 participants. We gathered 71 pounds of goods that the town donated to Pantry Partners. Some other things I'm working on a draft to propose Park RX program to Stevensville. That draft will need to go to all medical providers around the area, and that program is based on utilizing our recreational spaces as prescriptions for patients that need physical activity. So on our side, we'd really go through and rank all the trails and walking areas around town with grade, difficulty, types of path, and then that allows those physicians and medical professionals around our space here to recommend certain paths and trails for people who need that kind of PT and stuff of that nature. It's a really neat program that's been around for about 7 years and something we're looking into. And I've also been doing a lot of research for a master parks plan. The next step in that is to meet with our park board and a few other organizations around Stevensville just to make sure we're addressing all the needs of our community and not just some. So we're trying to get a full view of that to move forward with hopes of, getting a master parks plan put together for Stevensville. And that's it.
Are there any questions for Bobby?
Just letting you know, Bobby, I think I've stated it in the past. If you ever need some help on a Thursday or a Friday helping clearing those trails down there at River Park, just definitely reach out and I'll be more than happy to come down there.
Will do. Appreciate that. Thanks, Dempsey.
Okay. The police department report is in your packet tonight. Mr. Ellington apologizes that he can't join us this evening. He fell ill and is home resting so that he can get back on the job. However, their statistics and a narrative are included in your packet. This is somewhat of a different format than has been presented to you in the past by Chief Marble. So I guess short of actually presenting the report on his behalf, we welcome any feedback from the council on that format. If you want to share that now or later, that's fine. As we kind of navigate that, I know that the police department statistics tend to be a difficult report to make for an array of reasons. And so we're just trying to nail something down that's informative for the council and the public and gets the police department's point across. So you have that before you. And the Public Works report is also included in your packet. As you've been made aware of this week, Mr. Thomas, or rather last week, Mr. Thomas turned in his notice of retirement from our organization after 40 years of public service and 27 years with the town of Stevensville. To kind of get us by and get us through to the next phase of a new public works director, Mr. Sunstang has willingly stepped up to fill that role. And so I'll let him go ahead and present the Public Works Activity Report and provide any updates to that report as needed.
Do you have that available for the screen? Sorry, I did not. I just printed off the parts.
Gotcha. No worries. No, I don't have it available on my camera screen necessarily.
Let's see.
But I guess if there are any questions from council, it is in their packet. If there's any questions, then perhaps Mr. Sunstang can address those or defer them, one or the other.
I do have one question.
Okay.
On well number 5, what is election cleaning?
Election cleaning. I can definitely find out for you, Dempsey, and get back to you.
All right, thank you.
Dempsey, that's a name of a company and a type of cleaning that they do on the pump itself. It's I think it's actually more of a electrolysis cleaning. They clean the sludge and stuff off and rust off. Then they're can't think of the word I'm thinking of now, but it's
Sediment. Did we lose Paul?
Did you hear me?
Almost.
I was kind of able to piece it together. I appreciate that, Paul.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, very good. You got off easy tonight, Bobby.
I just got to, in our packet, the Public Works report, so.
Very good. Thank you for your time tonight. Is there anything you wanted to add to that report over your last week or so of being baptized into all things Public Works?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna turn my video so I don't cut out. It's been interesting. It's, I'm learning a lot. There's a lot that goes on down there. I have worked alongside Public Works for the whole time I've worked for the town and have a great working relationship with the staff down there. Right now, this week, my goal was really to learn the processes of the plant. Next week, I will be working with George to learn a bunch of the administrative side and the bookkeeping and all of that goes on, the budget and everything for that. I will say we have half of our staff down there is pretty young. I mean, most of our staff down there outside of George is pretty young for the town. I think senior person down there will be a little over a year. But it's a great group. So there's a lot of positivity coming with that young group. They're eager to learn. Everyone is chomping at the bit to learn everything we can from George. So it's been a very productive week, and I'm really excited for what's about to come. I'm extremely excited for George. We are losing a lot of knowledge, but at the same time, I think he has done a great job with his team of training them properly, and they all are up to speed. So me coming in, not knowing as much as those guys, collectively, it's been a great learning experience. It's not just George. I'm learning a lot from everybody. Things are moving along. Today, a big project was switching bays up in the AV, and that's a really big process that happens only once a year. That went successfully today, so that was a really big positive, and we're just trying to get some of those big things out of the way with George still on hand so we can all learn them, or Dustin can do it for a second or third time and just make sure we got everything worked out. So it's been a very productive week. My first week down there with those guys, pretty much full time. I definitely think by the end of December, we will come a long ways with the training and everything. And it's moving in a very positive direction. And George has been very nice and just is really going above and beyond to get us all prepared.
Great, thanks for that brief. Any further questions for Mr. Sunstang before we move on? Great. Okay, we don't have any guests tonight on our meeting, so we'll move into the correspondence portion of the agenda. I do have a couple of items that I will read to the council tonight. The first being, we received this on Wednesday, December 2nd, from Jim Cruz to the town's attorney, the mayor, and CC to the clerk, and for public correspondence to be read into the official record on December 10th, 2020 council meeting. This email is not a reflection on the clerk. It has nothing to do with her other than to keep her in the loop. It is about the town's potential for constitutional right violations. Public correspondence for December 10th, 2020 town council meeting. Why are not public comments that are emailed in read into the official record? The official record for the town of Stevensville is the audio recording, not transcribed minutes. A failure to read the comments into the record may be a violation of the public's right to participation as delineated in the Constitution of the state of Montana. Mr. Cruz then cites right of participation, section 8. This means that all avenues of public comment, or of comment rather, must be available to the public, and that those avenues are verified and to be functional prior to any decision being made, and that when a member of the public participates in commentary, that the comments become part of the official record for the town. That means any and all written comments must be read into the record, as the audio recordings are the official minutes of the town of Stevensville and not a transcribed copy. All comments must be read into the record. In his letter, Mr. Cruz cites MCA 2-3-103. He also cites 2-3-212 and closes with, please note that under 2B above requires a record of all persons in attendance at the meeting. So if we are doing Zoom meetings, how do we as a town record the presence of virtual attendees? These all should be part of the transcribed or abbreviated minutes. The town has not been doing this for a long time, and it's time the town came into compliance. I am writing this email because I feel that the town is not running its meetings in accordance with state law and in accordance with the state constitution, nor in accordance with council rules. I recommend that the council follow its rules, as you have not been in compliance for some time now. It's your meeting, not the mayor's meeting. He simply runs the meeting. Jim Cruz, 316 9th Street, Stevensville, Montana, a private American citizen. The next correspondence we received this week was from Desiree Cody, received on December 8th, 2020. To whom it may concern, on November 21st, Mayor Dewey made comments that implied that his wife and others had gotten COVID-19 from the local grocery stores. This was not said directly, however, it was the only example used. Since these comments, the violence and emotional abuse towards us has increased tenfold. One masked gentleman took it upon himself to seek out non-masked patrons and cough on them. In their faces, he coughed on them. One woman yesterday insisted that since the mayor's wife got COVID from us, then she did too. One customer screamed explicitives at a worker who removed her mask to answer a phone call. In less than a week, we have had to remove at least 3 customers from the store. This has got to stop. There haven't been any reported cases from our store. We have added extra cleaning routines and online shopping options. What we will not do is put more employees at risk by forcing them to hand out masks. This is too volatile of a situation. We have assign and provide masks to anyone that wants one. We do not harass any customer for their choices. We wouldn't be subject of violence and abuse, or shouldn't be subject of violence and abuse either. What I am pleading rather, is for the mayor to clarify his statements and rebuke the current violence. Those statements have put my work, family, and myself in danger. In no way should anyone be treated with such malice and anger, whether it be for or against the masks. Thank you, Desiree Cody, 311 Turner Street, Stevensville. And I do have some remarks that I'll address in my executive report on that correspondence. In the meantime, we don't have any public hearings scheduled tonight, nor any unfinished business. We'll move straight into the new business portion of your agenda tonight. First item is discussion decision to consent to the mayor's appointment of Tim Smead as airport manager. The council communication in your packet gives you a little bit of background. Mr. Smead follows the resignation of Katie Coleman Assad. In the interim there, we had Mr. Underwood filling in as the airport manager. Tim brings a wealth of knowledge of airport operations and management from other airports, one namely in Wyoming, a much larger airport than Stevensville, but in his interview could relate a lot of that experience to the growing pains and the experiences that Stevensville is currently going through with its airports expansion and development. So we're eager to bring Mr. Smead on board and to kind of get that off of Mr. Underwood's desk, certainly, and to see the progression that the airport will bring with Mr. Smead's leadership.
I'll make a motion to consent the appointment of Mr. Smead to airport manager.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vick, seconded by Mr. Ludington to consent to the mayor's appointment of Tim Smead as the airport manager. Any council discussion on the appointment? Ms. Berthoud, any public comment? Okay. All right, with that, Ms. Berthoud, would you please do a roll call vote?
Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd
Aye.
and Councilmember Vick.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you for your consideration of that. The next item is discussion decision consent to the mayor's appointment of John Ellington as interim police chief. Interim appointments in the past haven't necessarily come before the town council, at least in the last couple of administrations. And sometimes interim appointments don't necessarily even happen. But given the timeframes that we're dealing with and the searches for certain positions, we are going down this road of interim appointments, and we want to involve the council in that decision making. So tonight I'm asking for, first off, your consent to my appointment of John Ellington as interim chief of police.
I'll make a motion to confirm the appointment of John Ellington as interim police chief.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vick, seconded by Mr. Short to consent to the appointment of John Ellington as interim police chief. Council discussion? And public comment. Okay, if you would do a roll call vote, please, Ms. Berthoud.
Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd
Aye.
and Councilmember Vick.
Aye.
Great, thank you. I will note Mr. Ellington has been in that position since the 27th of November, roughly there, and has done a fine job at leading the department into a transition. Although the department is rather small with just 2 other staff members, and we're hoping to bring on a third at the end of the year here. He's done well in transitioning from one leadership role to another, and we're lucky that we had him to install. So with that, we'll move on to item C, discussion decision on the consent to the mayor's appointment of Bobby Sunstang as interim public works director. I think Mr. Sunstang has had an opportunity tonight to somewhat give you some insight into his interim appointment and the job he's done just over the last week. So we're seeking your consent tonight.
I'll make the motion to approve.
There's a second.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Devlin and seconded by Mr. Vick to consent to the mayor's appointment of Mr. Sunstang as Public Works Director. Any further discussion from council?
About this. I understand. I do believe that Mr. Sunstang would make a good person for this interim position. However, I do have to ask Bobby, are you seeking to try to get into this position permanently?
Currently, I'm trying to assist the town in a time of need. Personal things in my life right now, I don't know who all knows it, but my family and I are expecting our first child coming in February. So currently, I will say I'm here to help. I really want to help that department stay where it is, performing well. I can't answer that at this time. Currently, it was something that was brought to my attention last week. They needed the help. I offered to help at this time. I don't know what the future looks like currently.
Okay, and final question. This one's for Mr. Mayor. For our, I didn't get a chance to review the advertisement for the position, but we are requiring for the permanent position somebody that has the same certifications as George, correct?
Not necessarily. We're requiring that person have the ability to attain those certifications, and it is desirable out of the position description. But the position description itself did not require those certifications of that person. If we hired a person that didn't have those certifications, but had the leadership and administrative background to lead the department, then we are relying on the other personnel in our organization, of which there are 3 other operators that do have to maintain their certifications.
Okay, no more questions from me.
We have some redundancy in terms of certifications to ensure that we always have one certified individual in the organization at all times, required by DEQ. We have a couple of people who are either finishing up certifications or are just entering as they've just entered the organization. They're now getting that certification rolling, and it does take them some time to complete that. But we're in a comfortable position certainly now, even without George, to make sure the plants stay operational.
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation.
You're welcome. Any further questions or remarks from council before we call for the vote?
Do you have an expectation on a timeline for the new hire?
The application period for the position closes at the end of the month. And we hope to use the month of January to get somebody into place as soon as we can, knowing that Mr. Sunstang is going to have to help us with that transition, and knowing he will be on paternity leave early to mid-February. We don't have a lot of time if we want him to help us transition to a new individual.
Well, congratulations, Bobby. Thanks for stepping up. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Is there any public comment on your end, Janelle?
There is not.
Okay, very good. With that, I think we can call for the vote. Go ahead.
Councilmember Devlin. Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd.
Aye.
And Councilmember Vick.
Aye.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Next up is discussion decision on the authorization of purchase for an auxiliary snowplow. As we explained in the council communication in your packet, get pulled up to the right one here, bear with me. The town was recently blessed to acquire a vehicle for free. Bobby, do you recall how many miles are on it?
Yeah, it's a 2013 Chevy 1-ton pickup with only 17,000 miles on it.
Thank you. So lightly used, barely broke in, and the only thing it took for us to get was we had to send Bobby to go pick it up from Seattle, and that was rather painless. So huge upgrade for the organization in terms of acquiring a vehicle of that caliber. In discussion with Public Works Director George Thomas, we explored the possibility. It's a capable vehicle of holding a snowplow. And there are certain circumstances throughout the winter season where an auxiliary plow would be more appropriate than our larger plows that do a wider portion of the streets, specifically parking lot areas or cleanup in certain neighborhoods where berms become an issue. And so with that, we thought, let's see if we couldn't use the vehicle to our advantage and throw a snowplow on it. A snowplow is not something that's specifically lined in the general fund budget. And so what we're asking for tonight is for you to approve the purchase as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year and have a better idea of where we sit in terms of where we'll come out of the budget, knowing that we've had an unusual year with COVID-19. We'll seek a budget amendment that ratifies this purchase and authorizes the spending of reserves. The quote we received to have the plow installed on the vehicle was just under $6,400. It was at $6,362. So we're asking for an approval tonight of $6,400 to have that plow installed on the vehicle. And we'll go forth and hopefully have it done before the snow hits us.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the auxiliary snowplow.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vick, seconded by Mr. Ludington to approve the purchase of an auxiliary snowplow. Council discussion?
I just want to say that I do believe that this snowplow will help, definitely help the town combat Mr. Dewey's second highest arch nemesis that he has, and that is heavy snowfall. And I'm glad to see that we will be purchasing this.
Will this plow be utilized to clear the
Sorry.
mound that tends to form on Main Street? Will it be able to help with that situation? Sorry?
Not a whole lot. It can help with some cleanup and it'll help with the crosswalks. It can help us keep those crosswalks clear where we have crossing issues. But the berm will be there no matter what, depending on how much snow we get. This will just more or less help us keep the berm from spreading down into the driving lanes. But this plow is really going to be designed for the lighter duty projects and smaller surface areas where it's a little harder to get the big dump truck and the big plow into those areas, like cul-de-sacs and that sort of thing as well. Is
Okay.
Devlin a question?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Will the vehicle be able to be used during non-winter months?
Yes.
Will
In
the
fact,
plow be removed?
yeah, the vehicle's already being used in all other purposes right now. So when the plow goes on, I don't know operationally if the Public Works Department intends to put the plow on and leave it for the winter, or if they'll just throw it on when snow falls and when they need it, and then take it off when it's no longer necessary. But the vehicle will have many other purposes and uses as well. In conjunction with this, it's not part of this proposal. I'll just inform the council. We're toying with the idea of possibly piloting a de-icer program to see if the community is interested in the use of de-icer, but we definitely want to do some more research into that versus the sand that we're currently using, and really have a comprehensive strategy before we bring something to council in terms of a purchase. But that came up as a possibility to do it on a smaller scale rather than investing in a giant de-icing unit and it not working. So that's an aside. Any further questions from council or discussion? Ms. Berthoud, any public comment come in during that?
None.
Okay. So a motion on the floor is to approve the purchase, and we'll go ahead and call for the vote. Ms. Berthoud, go ahead.
Councilmember Devlin. Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd.
Aye.
And Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The next item is authorization of purchase for SPD body armor and ballistic shields. I would have had Mr. Ellington present this item if he was able to join us, because he has, I think, a bit more knowledge than I do on the specific equipment that he's requesting. And a lot of this request was put in motion under Chief Marble as well, and has finally kind of come together. As we explained in the council communication to you guys in the packet, we've been fortunate enough to receive some donations from private individuals in the community. And we'd like to put that to use. One specific donor of $2,000 requested that specific equipment be purchased with that money. And that is included in this proposal tonight. And then there's another donation that has come in to cover the balance of the request tonight. The request tonight, based on the quotation that Mr. Ellington provided, is $3,096.70. And that covers the necessary upgraded body armor plates and a ballistic shield. And that itself is a relatively expensive item, nearly $2,500 for that specific item. And that's the shield you see that has a kind of a slit in it. It's curved and they can see through it. And it's a protective measure for certain types of law enforcement activities. So certainly not equipment that we currently own. It is an upgrade and an added benefit for our officers to have. And so we're asking for approval tonight to go ahead and spend those funds. As I stated with the last item, we anticipate that there will be with these donations a budget amendment that comes forth very soon to the council to authorize the spending of these unanticipated revenues. And so to get the ball rolling, we're bringing this before council tonight, and then we'll take care of the accounting measures in mass at a later date with Robert.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the body armor and ballistic shields.
Okay, is there a second?
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Vic, seconded by Mr. Ludington to approve the purchase of the body armor and ballistic shield. Council discussion or questions? I'll do my best to answer if there are. Okay. Any public comment, Janelle?
No.
Okay, with that, if there's no further conversation from council, we'll go ahead and call for the vote. Ms. Berthoud.
Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Schurd.
Aye.
And Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. These, we're on to the next page of the agenda, and I imagine we'll get through these items relatively quickly. You have item F, discussion decision on suspension of council rules to cancel the December 24th, 2020 council meeting in observance of Christmas Eve and authorizing claims to be paid out of cycle. Naturally, unless you oppose, we try not to meet on Christmas Eve, and that typically interferes with the second council meeting in December. And so we typically cancel it, call it a Christmas break, and reconvene in January.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Vic and seconded by Mr. Schurd to suspend council rules and cancel December 24th council meeting, authorizing claims to be paid out of cycle. Any council discussion? All right, with that, unless there's public comment, Ms. Berthoud, you please call for the
No
vote.
public comment. Councilmember Devlin,
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington,
Aye.
Councilmember Shord,
Aye.
and Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next on is discussion decision to nominate and elect council member to serve as council president in accordance with the town council rules, with the vacancy of council member Bob Michelson vacating the both town council seat and the council presidency. That initiates a process where the town council must select a president, and the primary role of that position is to handle running those meetings in my absence. Per council rules, the process is that the members of council who are interested in that position send an email to the town clerk notifying them of that. To date, we've received 2 requests for the council presidency, one from Ms. Janie Devlin and one from Mr. MC Vic, both expressing interest in the vacant town council president seat. Your council communication provides sample motions based on how this has kind of worked in the past, because it's a little bit cumbersome to nominate and then elect. But you're welcome to use that or roll it into one motion. We just provide that as a suggestion for our purposes in keeping the minutes. But nonetheless, you have that before you tonight.
I'll make a
Usually,
motion to nominate.
go ahead, Patrick. I was going to say, you're usually in the room, you could awkwardly stare at each other first.
I'll make a motion to nominate Dempsey Vic to serve as council's council president.
Okay, is there a second?
Why not?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Sherwood and seconded by Mr. Ludington to nominate Dempsey Vic as the town council's president. Council discussion.
I guess I'll just take this moment to kind of make a case. I feel like as council president, I understand what my duties would be as a mayor pro tem, and I do hope that I would be able to help continue to represent our people of Stevensville and the council, and try to be a good ear for the council to lean onto and be able to give answers to questions if needed.
Okay, any further discussion? Any public comment, Ms. Berthoud? Okay, and just so I'm absolutely clear, I think I heard you correctly, Mr. Sherwood. This is a nomination, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to nominate Mr. Vic for council presidency. We will call for the vote. Ms. Berthoud?
Councilmember Devlin, Councilmember Ludington,
Aye.
Councilmember Sherd,
Aye.
and do I call for Councilmember Vic?
Sure.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Okay, the nomination passes unanimously. And so as we've done in the past, we've done a nomination and then election unless there are any other nominations. Okay, I hear no other nominations. Do I hear a motion to elect Councilmember Vic?
I'll make a motion to elect Councilmember Dempsey Vic as council's council president.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Mr. Sherwood, seconded by Mr. Ludington to elect Mr. Vic as the town council's president. Any further council discussion? And public comment? All right, we'll proceed to call for the vote. Ms. Berthoud.
Councilmember Devlin. Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd.
Aye.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
All right, very good. Thank you. The next item then is discussion decision on the appointment of a council person to serve on the Planning and Zoning Board. Just a quick preface to these board appointments. Largely, you're doing this because there were vacancies and we need to fill the vacancies. My assumption is that you folks would make these appointments tonight and those would carry into the new year when we would typically do this process. So we put everything on here knowing that in January, you usually reappoint to the boards anyway. We're just a month ahead. If you want something different than that, just please let us know tonight so we can correctly record this. But that was our presumption in putting all this on tonight's agenda. So you have council member to serve on the Planning and Zoning Board.
I will make a motion to nominate Paul Ludington to serve on Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Vick and seconded by Ms. Devlin to nominate Paul Ludington for the town's Planning and Zoning Board. Discussion? Okay. And public comment.
There is none.
All right, figured says much. With that, we can go ahead and call for the vote. Ms. Berthoud.
Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd.
Aye.
And Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Good, that passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up is the appointment of a council person to serve on the Tiffin TED Board in accordance with Stevensville's municipal code.
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilmember Jamie Devlin to serve on the TED Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Sherwood, seconded by Mr. Vick to appoint Jamie Devlin to serve on the town's TIF TED Board. Discussion? And Ms. Berthoud, barring public comment, you can go ahead and call for the vote.
No public comment. Councilmember Devlin. Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd.
Aye.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Very good. That passes unanimously. Next up is the appointment of a council member to serve on the Park Board.
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilperson Patrick Short to the Park Board. He is already actually on there.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second that.
It's been moved by Ms. Devlin and seconded by Mr. Ludington to appoint Patrick Shurd to the Park Board. Okay, council discussion. Okay, as a note of housekeeping, this will vacate the regular seat that Councilmember Shurd has on the Park Board. So we'll have an opening there, of course, and he will fill that council appointed role. Ms. Berthoud, if there's any, barring any public comment, you're welcome to call for the roll. Or the
No
roll
public
call.
comment. Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington.
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd.
Aye.
And Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. The next up is the appointment of a council member for the Airport Board.
I'll make a
I'll make
motion
a
to,
motion. Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilmember Dempsey Vic to serve on the Stevensville Airport Board.
There's second.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Mr. Sheward, seconded by Mr. Ludington to appoint Councilmember Vic as the representative on the Airport Board. Council discussion?
I'm just going to sit here and make a quick comment about the airport. Since my time on the airport board in the past, I am super proud of our airport. We have done such a great job getting some projects going and up and running and getting funding for those projects. And I thank the council for nominating me for that position again.
Any further discussion on the appointment? All right, Ms. Berthoud, you know the drill.
No public comment. Councilmember Devlin,
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington,
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd,
Aye.
Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Very good. That passes unanimously. Last but not least, we have the appointment of a council member to serve on the Climate Action Ad Hoc Advisory Board. This board has not necessarily been filled with any other individuals, but as a procedural matter, we do know that a council member is appointed to that board. So that's before you this evening.
I'll make a motion to appoint Councilmember Dempsey Vic to serve on the Climate Action Board.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Short, seconded by Ms. Devlin to appoint Councilmember Dempsey Vic as to the Climate Action Advisory Board. Council discussion? All right, Ms. Berthoud.
No public comment. So Councilmember Devlin.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludington,
Aye.
Councilmember Shurd,
Aye.
and Councilmember Vic.
Aye.
Very good. That motion passes unanimously, and that concludes the business portion of your agenda tonight. We appreciate your time to get through all those appointments. Right off the bat, I can tell you we'll be reaching out to at least a couple of board members on their new boards, specifically planning and zoning, on a date for the planning and zoning board to meet. We've kind of held off on pulling a planning and zoning board meeting together just to get a new council member into that seat to undertake the review of Burn Fork Estates and that proposed subdivision. So we're going to dive right in toes first and hopefully pull a meeting together relatively soon. Otherwise, in January, you'll expect, as we've previously explained, the clerk and I will be holding workshops with the boards kind of collectively as we can, with COVID-19, of course, kind of being a restraint and getting people together. We're going to kind of muddle through that. But we do want to get all the boards together right after the first of the year, kind of explain roles and responsibilities, kind of explain some procedure, get everybody on the same page, introduce each other, and then hit the ground running in terms of schedule, and at least try to get the quarterly meetings back into place for some of these, for most of all of these boards, if not monthly meetings for some boards that want to meet monthly. So part of that training, of course, that the clerk and I will conduct will include some Zoom training to kind of help the board members who haven't honed in on those skills do so that we can continue to facilitate governance in the new virtual world that we've experienced. So with that, the executive report is the next item on the agenda, and I've got some notes here and some things to brief the council on. I'll start off kind of in this vein, as I mentioned, with COVID-19 and trainings and that sort of thing. I will touch that I will also coordinate with the council members on some training for you folks right into the new year. We have a pretty healthy training budget because we had budgeted for travel that obviously is not happening. So we're going to work on some online curriculum for you folks. There's some fundamentals classes coming out of the local government center currently that I think would be beneficial for council if they're interested in taking that online. That course specifically only takes about an hour a week in my experience. So just know that some of that's coming down the pipe, and we haven't done a formal orientation with the new council members. If there are any questions or something we missed or something you expected us to explain to the two of you, please do not hesitate, as some of you already have, to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm missing this piece. I need some help. We're happy to do it. Just know that sometimes we miss stuff just juggling what we are. So, but we're happy to help out however we can as an administration. Addressing the correspondence we received specifically from Desiree Cody in the remarks that I made that she referred to, it was not my intent in that November 21st meeting, nor do I believe most people perceived it as blame or finger pointing at a specific business for giving my wife COVID-19. The fact remains, we don't know where she got the virus. We can narrow it down to a few likely places, and the grocery store happens to be one of those places. That said, I'm happy to clarify and further explain my remarks, and that it wasn't my intent to blame any specific industry for the infection that came into our household. It's just something that occurred. Of the complaints we received through the public health folks regarding businesses observing health directives, all of those complaints have to do with wearing a mask, and specifically staff members in those businesses not wearing masks, but also customers not wearing masks. Frankly, there are a few businesses, including local grocery stores, hardware stores, even some bars, that need to do a better job of wearing face coverings. That's just the bottom line. To be clear, as this was an issue that Ms. Cody raised, I do not expect grocery store clerks or employees of any other business to stand at the door and create a confrontational environment with customers over face masks. That's not what we're here for. But I do expect that those employees of those establishments community-wide will demonstrate and reinforce precautions that are proven to work in preventing the spread of COVID-19. There's a lot of debate as to whether masks work or not. The bottom line is they work. It's science, folks. Those in our community who are providing services to customers should be mindful that they may not be aware if the person they're helping at the grocery store line or at a restaurant drive-through or whatever that situation is, they don't know if that person they're helping is the first lady or an essential worker at a nursing home, who, if the virus was transmitted through that person, could cause deadly consequences. I know of a handful of cases that are in our own assisted living center here in Stevensville. One number that's recently been thrown out is as many as 16 cases, and 16 people in a community of 2,000, where a good portion of our community lives in that facility, is a startling number. And so we have to be mindful of those people, and that's why it's so critical that when we're doing commerce and doing business with each other, we're mindful of who we're coming into contact with, and that the mask is a preventative measure. It won't completely prevent COVID-19 from spreading, but it'll help, you guys. So I just want to clarify some of those, because I know that it was certainly upsetting to Ms. Cody. I do think that we need to be mindful of our behavior and our interaction with each other. And those circumstances where people are becoming irate or accosting other individuals, those aren't acceptable. Those aren't what people who live in Stevensville do. That's not the behavior we exhibit. If you find yourself in the role of a customer, please do your part to keep our community moving, our businesses open, your neighbors healthy. And that means being responsible, wear a face covering when you're around other people, stay 6 feet away from anyone not in your household, wash your hands a lot, cover your cough or sneeze, very elementary principles, be patient, access to your favorite businesses and recreation facilities and the things you like to do, those are limited. It takes you longer than usual to get an appointment with your doctor maybe, and any other service providers. That's just part of the times we're living in currently. Be prepared, plan and call ahead, be educated, know what it takes to keep you and others safe, and visit our website or give us a call if you have questions, or public health is a resource for you, of course, as well. In the vein of COVID-19, I do have some updates for the council on the town's response to the pandemic specifically. We are collaborating with public health and the sanitation department at Ravalli County to address complaints that are received regarding non-compliance with health directives by businesses that hold a Town of Stevensville business license. Reminders and best practices information is being emailed to those businesses who we receive complaints about, and those come in on a regular daily basis. We're at a point where we're not necessarily receiving complaints about an array of businesses, but we're receiving the same complaints about the same businesses. So at a certain point, we'll have to address some different outreach with those folks, because the same email going over and over again isn't going to cut it. As we move to business license renewals for 2021, we will be cross-checking complaint records to ensure businesses are making efforts to take precautions as we're renewing those business licenses. So we're, the community or the town of Stevensville is doing what it can to kind of move these public health directives that have come from the state level into a better light and try to educate folks. So any feedback there would be appreciated from the council. Shifting gears, but in the same track of COVID-19, the administration is rapidly pulling together plans for a mobile testing pilot for community-based testing of COVID-19. A local contractor right here in our backyard has successfully developed a test for COVID-19 that is affordable and very quick to process. Preliminarily, we expect that this could cost about $15 a test. And the test results would be ready in as little as 3 to 5 minutes. So it's very fast. And so we're pulling some pieces together. We have some meetings tomorrow with staff, and we'll have to be reaching out to some other departments for assistance with this. So my hope is that we'll have some very specific details for the town council in a brief tomorrow that I'll email out to you folks in a memorandum just to keep you apprised. Initially, the theory is that these tests will go or be focused on or concentrated on certain populations such as frontline and essential workers, our first responders, and then move into larger populations if the program is successful in those areas right off the bat. If that program is successful through this pilot, then we will revisit the program with the council on potential future funding should CARES Act not extend past December 30th, or if a new aid package does not get passed by Congress near the first of the year. So while CARES has scaled back a lot of the presumptive expenditures across the state, they are still pushing funding towards these types of measures where we can increase community testing, increase community outreach in terms of precautionary measures and those types of things. And so that's where we're shifting some efforts before that funding expires on December 30th. So just expect more information as that develops. The last piece, and then we will leave COVID alone for the evening, is we will be implementing a new training software for the organization as a whole. That software will cover, basically, it comes pre-built with curriculums that will aid us in OSHA training or any other in-service or in-house training that we need to do. A lot of that's preloaded into the system, but we're also able to load our own training things into the system. So things like annual training, where we're supposed to hold annual ethics training with all of our employees, that ethics training can be built into that system. They can complete that on their own time, take a quiz, and take care of that without having to get everybody in the same room to watch a DVD on the screen. So that's really the push behind this, is that we can hold more of our trainings remotely, where individual staff members can do things at their own workstation rather than holding, getting 10 of our people all in the same room and risking the chance of transmitting COVID-19. So that will be online very, very soon for staff use. And we're excited to see how that benefits going forward, even after COVID-19 is done. Lastly, as you've kind of seen through our department reports and other items of business on the agenda, we are successfully and seamlessly navigating transitions in both the police department and the public works department. I think that if these transitions had to happen, now is probably the best time that they could happen. You hate to see people go, but the people that are being left behind are doing an extraordinary job of stepping up and ensuring that the services are continuing to be provided to our citizens. And so for that, I extend my appreciation to them, my appreciation to our public for their patience as we do get through some of this, and certainly my appreciation for the people who have or will vacate these positions. Certainly Chief Marble and Mr. Thomas have done a good job at leaving the organization in a place where these transitions are much less painful than they could be, just at the drop of a hat, leaving us high and dry. So we appreciate their service and their leadership in getting us to a good spot for transition. That concludes my executive report, barring any questions from council. Great. Then I'll turn it over to council comments.
I have something to say, and for the last, I would say, couple of months, I've been trying to come up with the words to say something about the different polarities that have been going on, not only in our community, but also in the United States as a whole, when it comes to politics and also with COVID-19. The words that I found come from the poem Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. And I'm just going to read just a short portion of it. And then this really actually explains my sense of it. And that is, go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence, as far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even to the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexatious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle to yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. The way I interpret that is we need to, as I stated a couple of months ago, we need to really grasp on the one thing that makes us all the same, and that is that we are all different. No doubt we have many people in our community that are trying to combat COVID-19 in their own way. Some believe that wearing masks, I believe wearing masks helps in combating. Other people believe in herd immunity. No doubt both sciences, both trains of thought in those sciences have their merits, and both trains of thought in those sciences have their faults. But there's no reason for any of us to become violent towards anybody because whether or not we choose to wear a mask or whether or not who we voted for in the presidential election. And I am pleading to Stevensville to start being the light for the rest of the United States, where I'm not saying that we're all going to get along, but we need to just respect each other and understand that every one of us have a different mindset in everything. And lastly, I just want to say, be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vick. Any further council comments from the council?
Yes, I have a few comments that I would like to make. First of all, just to let council and the mayor know, I will be out of the state for Christmas. We're leaving on the 22nd. We'll be back on the 29th. We're going to Alaska for Christmas. Next, I would like to mirror a little bit of what the mayor said about George Thomas and James Marble. Excellent assets for our community. They will be greatly missed. There is a lot of history there that I'm sure that they are imparting to those that work under them. And there has been and will be continue to be a lot of things going on in this town that maybe a lot of people don't know that those two gentlemen are privy to. So I am really hoping that they are able to impart as much of that knowledge to those that they are leaving behind as they possibly can. Next, I am not going to say anything about COVID-19 because I'm just sick and tired of it. We'll get through this. It's turning into practically drudgery. So working at the school every day, you never know what's going to happen. They announced at the school board meeting this week that they had 15 staff members and 31 students test positive. So there's been quite a bit of comings and goings with people in quarantine and out sick. It's turned into a monumental task for not only the place where I work, but for this entire town and this community and this nation. And I'm hoping that we can get through this best we can. The last thing I'll say is that I will try to make it into the office. I've been trying to get into the town hall all week to finish up some paperwork with Robert. So I'll try to get in there tomorrow before lunch. Thank you, and I hope everybody, if I don't get a chance to see any of you guys, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you. Any further council comments from council?
I have something. We were able to have a wonderful event this past Friday that is actually still going on to help out our local businesses. And I just want to take a moment and thank everybody that participated, not only putting that event together, but came out and enjoyed it. Our town is long overdue for a wonderful gathering. So I just want to extend my thanks for those that did help put that together. And I too, there's no excuse. I think we're getting used to using COVID as an excuse for behaviors. It's become like oh, well, I'm cranky because I'm tired of dealing with COVID or whatnot. Enough is enough. We've been dealing with COVID since March. We're done extending the grace of that. We all need to be mindful of our behavior. There are no excuses for treating somebody poorly. It's just as easy, if not easier, to treat somebody with kindness. So if you're having a bad day, stay home. If you're having a bad day, read something nice or breathe before you go interact with somebody, because it's not their fault that you're having a bad day. Enough is enough. We all need to work together. We all need to stay together. And we need to move forward. If we're really, really going to move forward, it starts with ourselves, not with the person that you're seeing or that's standing in front of you. So I would just encourage everybody to please be kind. Have an absolutely wonderful Christmas, a great New Year, and hopefully I'll see you all around between now and then. But if not, we'll see you next year.
Okay. Mr. Short, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would just like to add and echo what Jamie said. I was in the grocery store the other day, and an individual did explain to me the hardships that she had faced in her position. And I just want to echo, it's a tough time of year, and this is a really tough year, and just to be kind, to be considering, we're all human beings and we're all trying to get by.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Just Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Merry Christmas to all of you as well. I think we can forego board reports. I don't know as though, Mr. Vic.
I just wanted to say real quick, I forgot to say during my comments originally, to our Jewish neighbors, Happy Hanukkah.
Oh. Okay. Anything further for the good of the order from council this evening before we adjourn? Okay. Well, with that, we'll see some of you in the interim over the holiday break. But if we don't see some of you, then Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we will see you in the beginning of January for our first council meeting of 2021.